Wait! Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I thought it'd be interesting to tap into the mind of a cougar. I really don't like the way that just sounded coming out of my mouth, but that is literally what we are doing. And we're going to talk about how in the 2000s, they were low-key glorified in TV shows and movies. People love to talk about age gaps when it comes to teen girls and grown men, but I hardly ever hear people talk about the age gap between these grown women and these teen boys, and oftentimes they are glamorized and just called MILFs, and I'm just like, no, that lady is a predator. That lady is a literal pervert, yet she's getting off scot-free. Oh, but not in my book, not in this world, not in the world of Black Girl Reviews. There was a lot of weird things going on in the 2000s period, and I understand that, you know, people can't talk about everything, so I'm going to take matters into my own hands and talk about it myself, because I be rewatching so many 2000 shows, or like 2010s even. I be watching so many shows and it's just like glanced over. Now let's get into the glamorization of cougars in the early 2000s and early 2010s.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to line one. Jessica, first up in the queue. Jessica, your opinion on this bizarre story of obsessive love.
Obsession of hers has cost her her job, her marriage, her children.
All right, let's go to Joel and his car phone. Joel, have you been following the story of this 6th grade teacher doing the nasty?
Every little guy's dream in this world. Will you kidding me? Any guy out there would love that.
What about your son? What about if that were your son?
In March of 1997, teacher and most importantly predator Mary Kay Letourneau was arrested after a relative from her husband's family reported her relationship with then 12-year-old Villy Falau, who she was the teacher of. And although she got arrested in 1997, the relationship started back in 1996 when she was his 6th grade teacher. And I do want to point out the fact that she knew Villy since he was in the 2nd grade. She was a very respected teacher too, so no one would bat an eye at this lady if they didn't have a reason to, you know, so everyone was super comfortable with her. She was just a nice woman, or so it seemed. She introduced him to the piano and got him interested into arts, and she never did anything with him in the 2nd grade, but that's just not the point at all. The point is that she knew him and he knew her as a teacher, and that's all it should have ever been. Throughout this whole situation, Mary was given chance after chance to just leave Villy alone. Let him live and you live your life with your husband and 4 kids. She had 4 kids and a husband and cheated on him with a 12-year-old boy. She was given chances to just let him be, let him live his life and undo what she had started with this boy, because despite what she says, despite the mentality that she died with, she did start this. I don't care how many interviews they both went on. I was not the boss. He was the boss. That's literally words that came out of her mouth. You were the boss. Who pursued who? That's what she's saying to Villy in interviews, y'all. Till the day she died, she manipulated that boy and brainwashed him into thinking that he was at fault for their strange relationship. And I unfortunately do have to call it a relationship because they eventually got married and had children. I can barely date someone a single year younger than me. So 20 plus years, she dated someone 20 plus years younger than her. I just don't see how she was comfortable doing that. Only a pervert, only a predator would be comfortable dating a child. That's the only thing that matters to me, is the fact that you were an adult. He had barely hit puberty. 12 years old, you're just on the verge of puberty. And that's all that matters. And that's what Mary never got through her head. She went to her grave in 2020 with the same mindset that got her arrested back in 1997. She had no remorse remorse whatsoever for taking away this boy's childhood. I hear so many people talking about, oh, Billy had it going on. I'm just like, y'all are just as disgusting as her. Just because she risked her life, her freedom, and her family does not mean that Billy had it going on. Billy was a victim. Billy didn't have anything going on. I honestly don't care to go into why women feel the need to date younger men. And I heard her sob story. I really don't care. She was talking about her husband wasn't paying attention to her. And I'm just like, girl, okay, if you have to cheat, could you go cheat with somebody your age? If you must. If that's a must for you, you ain't getting as much attention as you would like. Okay, I'm not finna sit here and say you should go to jail for cheating, but I will say that you need to go to jail for statutory rape. I will say that. I will say you need to go to jail for being a predator. I will say that you need to go to jail for that. But has she just cheated with another man, I'd be like, well, we wouldn't even be having this conversation right now. She would not be the entering topic of my video. And of course, her and the father of her 4 children end up getting a divorce, because who's about to stay with someone who's cheating on them with a 12-year-old? I feel bad for Steven. Like, the movie about Mary Kay, which I think is called All American Girl or something like that. Horrible name for such a file, but okay, I guess she's an all-American girl. But in that movie, they tried to make it seem like he was evil and he wasn't giving her no attention and she just had to do this. She did not have to do this. That specific movie, it seemed like they were just trying to justify what she did. She was sick of feeling lonely. She was sick of playing mommy and just being mommy and teacher. She was looking for thrills. She was looking for love. Well, she was looking in a jail cell. After her husband's family member called CPS on her, she ended up getting arrested. Like I said, in 1997, they gave her 7.5 years, but said that if she entered a treatment, she would only have to do 6 months out of that 7.5 years. So the rest of that would be gone, long gone. All you gotta do is 6 months on probation, go to your treatment, and stay away from Billy. That was part of the deal. I don't know if she did 6 months in jail or probation, or if it was like 6 months with the treatment. I don't know. 6 months is all she had to do out of that 7.5 years. Baby, you know how many people would jump on that? Baby, do you know how many people I know right now who would hop, skip, and jump into that facility? And she was just like, well, our love is too strong. I can't stay away from him. She ends up getting caught with him once again. And she not only continued her relationship with him and got caught, but this time she was already pregnant with his second child. 2 children by this boy, all before he turns into a legal adult. This has got to leave someone mentally scarred and up. And I'm not even just talking about Billy. I'm talking about those 2 daughters that they had. And Mary Kay really angered the hell out of the judge. And she's like, you know what? You going back. You finishing this sentence, because you can't just do what you want. You can't just do what you want. It's like, okay, I'm gonna ignore what they talking about. We finna be in love. We finna be happy, happy, la la. No. She got sent right back to prison with her dumb. And honestly, the judge dumb too. The jury dumb too, because why did y'all agree to this? It's not justice if someone gets off this easy with a probation, with treatment. What the hell does she need treatment for? She is perfectly fine. She is mentally I mean, obviously she ain't mentally stable because she's dumb as hell and she's a pedophile, but you can't just write every pedophile off as, oh my gosh, they're mentally unstable, send them to treatment. Some stuff like that cannot be fixed, and that's exactly why that lady died, with that same mentality, because there was nothing to be treated. She just was doing what she wanted to do. But she ended up having to finish the rest of her 7.5 year sentence. Didn't really do anything, because as soon as she got out in 2004, they continued their relationship. And like I said, they have 2 daughters at this point, so he's tied to her. Whether I agree with any of this or not, she is the mother of his children now, so he must be in contact with her, or at least he feels this way. He feels trapped, I think. And in 2004, after her release from prison, her and Billy fought in court to be able to live their lives together. I mean, he was an adult now. They really couldn't do anything to stop what they had going on now, because he was freshly 21, and there was really no reason in the eyes of the law, at least, why they couldn't be together. Okay, before I go any further, here are some important things that I think we should know about this case in terms of grooming and just all of it. Their first sexual encounter happened a little before his 13th birthday, meaning he was still 12, and he was not a full teenager until after their first sexual encounter, which I feel like people are going to be like, well, you already said that she started messing with him when he was 12 years old, but I'm talking really sexual, not a little peck, not a little kiss. I'm talking about full-blown intercourse. Although, like I said, a kiss would have been just as gross, but the fact that she had intercourse with him before he even had teen in his age just makes my stomach turn a little bit more. In an article, Billy said that he had a very chaotic home life that would sometimes get violent, and he also used to watch porn with his granddad as a kid. He said that's just how they live. This man really never stood a chance. Like, I'm actually so angry for him, and I really hope he's getting the therapy and help that he needs, because this is a lot to digest. Even as someone who's just talking about it, I could not imagine actually living it. And for the where was Billy's parents crowd, that lady, his mother, was working late night shifts at a bakery and actually did try to put a stop to their relationship, and she actually tried to sue the school for not preventing the relationship, and she failed. So I don't really think it's that smart just to blame his mama like, oh, where was you at while this was happening? We could blame the adult woman who took advantage of a child. I like that version more. I'm not gonna blame a working mother for working. She should be able to send her child to school without having to worry about his teacher taking advantage of him. But Mary and Billy went on to live a life. That's all I'm going to call it. They lived a life. I'm not going to say it was a happy life, but they got married in 2005, and I'm not calling it a happy life because that's not a happy life to me. But they didn't have to worry about Mary getting arrested or getting caught. They could just love each other in peace. And in 2005, when they got married, I guess you could say that's when this whole era ended, where it's a forbidden love. It's forbidden. After they got married, it was no longer that. People did frown upon it, rightfully so. I still frown upon it, but it wasn't illegal. So it was talked about less and less, unless they themselves went on to do interviews and stuff like that. And since they no longer had to hide their love for each other, they were milking the stuff out of these press interviews. They were answering questions everyone wanted to know, when Mary kept on defending herself, calling it a tragic love story, a forbidden love, but nonetheless love. And I'm just like, lady, you haven't learned a thing. You sat in that jail cell for 7 years and learned nothing. You stared at a wall and refused to learn anything or take any kind of accountability. But I think in order for her to take accountability, she would have to admit that she did something wrong, which she don't feel like she did anything wrong. So I'm not surprised. After 12 years of being married, Billy finally filed for divorce in 2017, but he still supported Mary after her cancer diagnosis, which took her out in 2020. So even after he filed for divorce, he still had to, or felt the need to, put up with Mary because of her cancer. And although she did pass away 3 years later, I'm just like, dang, he had to be bothered with this woman for 3 more years after he filed for divorce. Like, he literally could not escape her until death. That is so sad to me. Like, she literally had to pass away for him to be free of her. Since he was 12 years old, this woman has been a part of his life, the biggest part of his life. I think this will be the perfect time to talk about Billy's perspective a little bit, because I feel like throughout all this, I've just been bashing Mary and bashing the relationship, but I didn't really talk about how this affected him. But, and I mean this in the most sincere, not harsh way ever, he literally acts just like a victim in a situation would act. As early as 2002, when Mary was still in jail, Billy said that he battled with substance abuse and depression.
It's like there's this hopelessness. You just, like, nobody understands you. You can't talk to anyone. I wish I just had a little bit better guidance through everything. It was kind of like, it was really confusing to me. We're going to label this kid as a victim, and we're going to make this woman an example for all other teachers who try to go down the same path. You know, I'm just left out there, just like no guidance. I don't have a father. My mom's busy doing, I don't know, and no one just really knew how to deal with it, I guess, really, and I didn't know how to deal with it myself.
But I will say that in more recent interviews, it seems like he's coming to terms with the fact that what happened to him was not normal. This was no love story, and he was taken advantage of. There's this one interview of him and Mary Kay before she passed away where they're getting interviewed by this guy, and the interviewer is really pressing Mary, trying to get her to admit that she was in the wrong for what she did. And she turns to Billy and she's like, who was the boss? Who was the boss? And he's just sitting there like he literally cannot respond. He's like, what?
Who were the adults?
You can say that.
I am saying that.
I was by age.
And by
Let's just say
maturity.
that. You maybe.
You were a teacher, Mary. You can't say I was immature.
But you don't know him.
No, but I don't need to know him in this discussion. He's the child.
Who was
I'm
the
talking
boss?
about you.
Who was the boss?
What was his name?
Who was the boss?
What?
Who was the boss back
You know,
then?
there was me pursuing you, but
Who was the boss back then?
this is ridiculous.
No,
This
who
is
was?
ridiculous.
Who was? Just say.
Just say.
Who was the boss?
All I knew was what I knew back then.
But who was the boss?
He was 13, Mary.
But who was the boss?
This is getting weird.
Who was the boss? Who?
I'm pursuing the relationship.
Who was the boss?
Well, I was the pursuer.
Yes.
Mary, even as you're hearing this now, come on, he was 13.
Doesn't matter.
It absolutely matters.
Oh well, flaw me. Flaw me as an
As an adult?
yes, flaw me. I did the best I could.
But I started this video off talking about Mary and Billy's relationship because I wanted to point out the fact that even though I am going to be talking about 2000s media today, this stuff happens in real life, and older women really do be preying on young boys for multiple different reasons, whether they're feeling old, whether they're feeling neglected by their partners, whether they're seeing them as an easy target. Any reason you give me of why you're attracted to a child, you're sick. I don't really care what you say. Women get away with so much, especially in cases like these. And I always hear male victims like they don't even be realizing that they got assaulted. They're always bragging about having older women. I was the man. I was doing this and this and this with an old lady at this age. But thank you all for listening to this history lesson of mine. The video's nowhere near over, but this portion of the video is over, and I really hope Billy is getting the attention that he needs, the therapy that he needs. I hope that their daughters are doing great. Y'all, I just feel so bad for them. Like, that's it. I don't want to keep saying I hope, but no, seriously. I feel horribly bad for Billy, Mary's kids from her previous marriage. I feel bad for all of them because they were all hurt by this woman. Now, aside from real life, let's tap into the media aspect of this. How is this trope and relationship portrayed in 2000s media? You know, the young boy and the hot teacher. We see that a lot, but why? And how does it play out usually? Well, you're about to see. When I think about an inappropriate student-teacher relationship being displayed in early 2000s media, the first thing that comes to my head is that scene from Scary Movie where the teacher is teaching her class and she's breastfeeding her baby. Then she walks over to one of her male students and is like, here, go to your daddy. When I tell you I was shook my first time watching it as a kid, I was thrilled. First of all, I had no business watching it as a kid, but I was thrilled. And then she turns around and says to another male student, by the way, I'll see you after class. When I say I was overly shook, I was overly thrilled. I was like, what the hell? And I still feel that way when I see these relationships displayed in media. And then all the teenage boys start high-fiving each other after she says that, acting like teenage boys, of course. And you know, it is Scary Movie, so I don't have any criticism at all. The whole thing is supposed to be satire, funny, hee hee ha ha. But that's not my point here. My point is y'all were aware of this. Everyone was aware of this. When I say everyone, I'm not talking about the WANs. I'm talking about the industry. All y'all was aware of this nasty ass student teacher trope going on back in the day. I know people be having crushes on a teacher like that's a normal thing. Me personally, I have never had the luxury of even having a crush on my teacher because they were always white old men or white women. Although I did not experience it myself, I see it enough and I hear stories from people where they're like, oh, I had a crush on this and this teacher. I had a crush on it. And I'm honestly, I don't know if I should be relieved or jealous because I never got to go through that. I never had a crush on no teacher or authoritative person in my life ever. I guess that is healthy. Not that having a crush on your teacher isn't healthy, but I never felt those emotions towards any adult when I was younger. Like, never in my life. And like I said, none of my teachers were ever attractive to me, so y'all probably like, easy for you to say. I had a hot teacher and whoop 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 whoop. Well, yeah, it is easy for me to say, and that's why I'm like, I probably should be thankful that I never, experienced no weird ass shit like this before. Absolutely no sympathy for these women or teachers who feel the need to cross boundaries with their students, but teachers have been sexualized for so long, and honestly, I'm not the person to do a deep dive on why this happens or how this whole thing got started, like the whole sexy teacher thing. I'm not the person to do a deep dive on that. Maybe somebody should, but I'm not that person. Honestly, if I had to do the deep dive, I would just be blaming everything on porn because it really is rotting the minds of everyone. But there's always been this sexual aura surrounding school, period. And I always found that really odd. The schoolgirl outfits and the adult films that take place in schools and are literally fantasizing about this topic that I'm talking about today. Students getting with their older teachers. It's so weird. And don't get me started on the sexual acts that actually take place in school, students and teachers. We're not gonna get into all that either, but I'm just saying though, if you're an adult, I really can't bring myself to care what you're doing with your free time as long as no students are being harmed or children being harmed, period. I don't really care what you're doing, but it's when y'all start mixing y'all business with pleasure and start crossing a line between that's your student and that's your man. Like, that is not your man. And let me just say this, English teachers, I need y'all to stop. Specifically English and math teachers. I know this whole thing, English teachers flirt with young boys. It's a thing. It's a real thing in real life, and y'all dead ass need to be slapped. Let the star athlete walk into an English class. I promise you, 9 times out of 10, that English teacher is going to be flirting so hard with this teenage boy. And I just cannot feel bad for these women. I really do not care about their sob stories. That's why I do not care about Mary Kay Letourneau. Like, I cannot care about her sob story of her husband not giving her attention. I'm feeling older. You're feeling older because you are older. I genuinely do not feel bad for anyone in these situations but the kids. Perverts be getting away with too much, and especially with young boys, because they be feeling like they the winners in the situation. Like, oh, I got to hit my teacher. Like, I got my teacher wrapped around my finger. I got this older woman wrapped around my finger. I'm the man. I'm the man. Whole time you're hardly a man. You just starting puberty. I always feel bad for them too, because they always bragging like about being taken advantage of. Like, you're literally bragging about a crime, baby. Like, you're not thinking. And maybe that's some type of trauma response. Honestly, I don't know about all that. It just comes off as them trying to deflect what actually happened to them. But as for the media back then, I feel like I seen the trope of the older woman teacher and the younger student boy more in TV shows than I did movies, and that's probably because if I read the description and that's the plot, I'm not clicking on it. Actively avoiding those kind of movies because it's just not what I want to watch. But when you're watching a TV show, you get a good 2000s TV show with 8 seasons and 30-minute episodes, sometimes 40, and you think you done lucked up, and then they throw in this weird ass plot line and you gotta choose between either finishing it or not, but you already heavily invested, so why wouldn't you? issue. From what I've seen, the only time this kind of plot line isn't just thrown in and is there from season 1, episode 1 is in Dawson's Creek when we see a romance brewing between Dawson's best friend Pacey and his teacher Tamara. Pacey and Tamara's story in Dawson's Creek really makes my stomach turn. Not that this whole topic doesn't, but this specifically reminds me of Mary Kay and Billy. Maybe not the specifics, but the older teacher taking advantage of this young boy, making him feel like he is the one in control. Pacey is only 15 years old in the first season of Dawson's Creek, while Tamara Jacobs is 36 years old, and she's also his English teacher. A little rundown on Pacey if you don't go here, but he's Dawson's best friend who is most of the time overlooked by girls, but he's still a flirt and he's supposed to come off as mature, witty, and quick with his comebacks. He's supposed to be that friend. He has a little charm to him, and he also can come off as a bit arrogant because he knows that people see him as mature. I think all the Dawson's Creek kids act like this though. They all talk like they're in their 30s when really they're 15, 16 years old. Not saying 15 and 16 year olds are dumb, but they be saying stuff that my mama would say, which lets us know who was in that writer's room, because 15 and 16 year olds do not be talking like this. But even though he can come off a little arrogant and seems like a smart ass, he does get better throughout the series. Not that he's that bad in season 1, he's just figuring himself out. I mean, he is 15 years old, but I'll always be a Pacey girl, and I will forever hate Tamara for what she did to him. She took away his innocence. Now let's get into how this whole thing even came to be, and this is gonna be a lengthy one, so get your snack, get your drink. I have my drink. If y'all looking for something that's not that strong, it don't really taste like nothing like that. In the first episode, Pacey, who works at a movie rental place, is standing behind a counter talking to Dawson after he just got told off by some annoying popular rich girl, when all of a sudden a beautiful blonde tall goddess walks through the door. No, I'm joking, it's just Tamara, but that's how Pacey sees her. And when I tell y'all, he is in awe over this lady. I mean, she got on this little dress that's 2 inches above the knee. She got on a little heel. Her hair is glowing. He is just staring her down. And Dawson's telling him like, hey, have some respect. That is somebody's mama, because obviously she's older. You can tell. And that's no diss to women in their 30s. But baby, if you look 30, you look 30. It's nothing wrong with aging. Aging is a beautiful thing if you use it that way. Tamara did not. I hate her, and I can diss her if I want. So yeah, you can definitely tell she's old. But despite her looking older, Pacey is still very much intrigued because he heard that mothers have excellent sex lives. You can kind of already see how the writers are setting this whole thing up, like Pacey is the one who's interested in her. He's the one who's trying to pursue her. Similar to how the Mary Kay story tried to make it seem like Billy was the one who was in charge. He was the one who tricked her into something, even though these are overly grown women who have years of life experience before meeting these boys. Tamara walks over to Pacey because it's her first time in this store and she needs help renting a video. Oh, by the way, she's new in town, so she don't really know much about this store or anything else in Cape Side. So no, they did not meet in school, but that does not make the rest of this interaction okay. If he can tell that you're older, you can tell that he is younger, and I stand by that. While talking to Tamara, Pacey is stuttering and panting, and he's obviously nervous as hell. And Tamara saying that she's in the mood for romance when Pacey asked if he could help her find a movie did not help her case at all. She's so obviously flirting with someone who she knows is well below her age, and some people would look at this and say, oh, it's innocent, this interaction is innocent. Dawson. She's just playing along with him. It's no biggie, but that is the point of this video, to show that it actually is a biggie and it actually is very much harmful. The movie she asked for is called The Graduate, and I've never seen that movie before, but thankfully Tamara explains it to us.
The Graduate is the one
where the older woman, Anne Bancroft, seduces the younger man, Dustin Hoffman.
This right here basically gives Pacey an in. It's like she's saying, woo, this is what I'm thinking about over here. You could be Dustin Hoffman. This could be us. That's basically what she's saying. The eye contact, the repeating of his name, the movie choice, all of it is just really uncomfortable and a sign of what she's doing. And she ain't slick, like, girl. And in front of his friend, that's not smart. After she rents her movie and leaves, Pacey is left feeling like the man, I guess. He's like, she wants me, she wants me. And Dawson's like, boy, she was playing with you. She was laughing in your face. But Pacey truly feels like Tamara has a thing for him, even though they just met 2 seconds ago, and he ain't wrong. Later, we see all the Dawson's Creek kids on their first day of high school, and during Pacey's first period, Tamara walks in, and this is how we get the student-teacher relationship. So like I said, they did not meet in school, but it does not make this relationship thing they have going on any less inappropriate. What makes it inappropriate is their age gaps. What makes it even more inappropriate is the fact that she is his teacher. So even if she was not his teacher, I would still have a problem with this. But Tamara walks in and she sees Pacey and he's like, Tamara. She's like, call me Miss Jacobs at school. Like, lady, if you don't get your cobweb cooch up out of this young boy's face for real. At the end of the class, after everyone left, Pacey asked Tamara how she liked The Graduate. And of course, she's over here sucking on some spoon all seductively. But anyway, Pacey asked her if she's looking for romance again tonight and brings up another pervy movie similar to The Graduate called Summer 42. Why do they keep making all of these cougar movie references? And why are there so many to reference? What do you mean a young boy is infatuated with a younger but older than him war bride? The hell is going on? I guess they found their target audience in Tamara, because what the fuck? All these cougar movies, all these predatory women movies. Tamara and Pacey very subtly make plans to go to the movies together, but not with each other. They plan to meet up there. And Pacey is so excited that he might be able to lose his virginity in a fantasy type of way. And they're doing this thing when he's talking to Dawson where they make it seem like he really understands Tamara. Like, Pacey is so mature. He understands fully what's going on with Tamara. He got her all figured out. He see right through her. He thinks she's just an older woman who's insecure about getting older, which he may be right, but I don't like how they're making it seem like it's okay what's going on because he understands. He speaks about the subject as if he's experienced this before, when in reality he has barely had a girlfriend his own age. So what is he going to do with someone who is old enough to be his mom? But later on, Pacey actually shows up to the movies and sits next to Tamara, and she is shook. Like, she is thrown off. She's like, Pacey, what are you doing here? Girl, don't even act like you don't know the tone that you've been setting since the day y'all have met. Talking about some cummy Miss Jacobs at school. Girl, please get your perv ass on. Move around. She's at this movie with a man named Benji, and when she senses a bit of jealousy coming from Pacey, she immediately is like, I was just renting a movie. You were renting The Graduate. You were putting stuff in this boy's head. You know what you were doing. And now you're scared because you don't know what you done got yourself into, as you should be scared. You should be terrified, and you should feel disgusted with yourself for flirting with this boy. He's reacting just how I thought he would because he's 15 years old. This was just so manipulative and twisted. To toy with a 15-year-old boy's head for your own entertainment is definitely a choice. Pacey ends up reading Tamara for filth later that night, and every single thing that he said was true.
How can you say you were just renting a movie?
Because it's the truth.
It's a crock. The truth is, you're a well-put-together knockout of a woman who's feeling a little insecure about hitting 40. So when a young virile boy such as myself flirts with you, You enjoy it. You fantasize about what it would be like to be with that young boy on the verge of manhood, because it helps you stay feeling attractive.
I would have loved if this was their last interaction because he really told her everything that she needed to hear, but that's just not what happened at all. And after all that whole speech about how she was wrong, she goes a step further and kisses him and tells him that he's not a boy. Well, what is he, Tamara? Because he sure ain't a man. You're talking about some you not a boy. He is the freshest boy, if anything. I hate how Tamara just keeps getting away with manipulating Pacey. You know that he was not going to leave you alone or have less feelings for you if you kissed him, and you still did it anyway. You had the opportunity to not do that. He didn't lean in for the kiss. You did. Mind you, this is all happening in episode 1, and it's only been like 3 days max. So you not only have flirted with him, made plans with him, and got mad when he actually showed up, and then you kissed him all in 3 days. Oh my god, this is gonna be such a ride. This is why I told y'all get y'all drinks, because baby, tomorrow I'm finna piss you off just like she did me. After that kiss, Pacey starts behaving how any 15-year-old boy in this situation would and gets really attached to Tamara. She tries to gaslight him by saying that the kiss never happened, and he's like, your tongue was in my mouth. And that's the thing with Tamara. She engages in these things with Pacey and then she feels bad. So she tries to convince herself and him that things never happened or that they weren't that big of a deal. But she never feels bad enough to put an end to things. Instead, she flirts with him and tries to convince him that he's just reading into things. And here she go with the freaking references, bro. I'm so sick of the cougar-like references and the referencing movies to describe their relationship like it's actually super weird. But while she's teaching class, she starts talking about how Heathcliff and Catherine, is that her name? Yeah, Heathcliff and Catherine from Wuthering Heights should have never been together. And it's very clear that she's talking about her situation with Pacey.
But Heathcliff and Catherine never belonged together. They never should have been together. Catherine was essentially a mess. Heathcliff was basically a decent guy who had a lot to learn about life, and he was inherently better off without some whimpering, mentally unstable wet rag following him around. The whole thing was wrong.
I don't know anything about Wuthering Heights except the fact that everyone hates the new movie that just came out, so y'all can enlighten me about that in the comments, but I can pretty much tell where she's trying to go with this. This was basically her way of telling Pacey that that kiss should have never happened, which is right, but it probably would have been worth more if she actually stood on what she was saying, but she doesn't. Instead, she digs an even deeper hole for herself and continues to lead poor Pacey on. I just don't get how someone who seems so self-aware can be in a situation like this. Like, she literally said out of her own mouth that what they are doing is, well, what she's doing is punishable in a state of law. Like, okay, so you fully understand that what you're doing is wrong, which we already knew because you're a 36-year-old woman and you're not dumb, but you continued even after you attempted to set a boundary. So you know that there needs to be one. You just don't care. What happened to staying strictly student and teacher? What happened to that whole Catherine and Heathcliff speech you just gave in class? It all means nothing. And the fact that she kisses him again after all that trying to do the right thing just makes me even more disgusted with her. Keep your lips off of this boy. You are his mama. You are literally his auntie. I know things are meant to be uncomfortable. Not everything is supposed to be comforting, but I just do not like this setup. It's really Pacey's reactions for me with all this. Like, despite what Tamara got going on, they're making Pacey sound like he knows what he's talking about, and he just doesn't. It's like they're trying to justify the situation through Pacey's character, saying things like, I kissed you back though, it's not all your fault, I'm way past the age of accountability. You're not.
I was hoping that maybe I could get by with a simple apology and hope that I haven't left any permanent scars. I am sorry, Pacey.
Where do you get off taking all of the responsibility for this? My lips kissed back.
Can 15-year-olds give consent? A minor? I guess it's different everywhere, but my point is, kids. Like, you see what they're doing, like the whole I'm way past the age of accountability. The only person who should be taking any sort of accountability should be the grown woman, this 36-year-old lady who has years on top of years of life experience prior to meeting you. But after this second kiss, things start to escalate between Tamara and Pacey. He starts to grow even more jealous over her. He gets mad when he sees her talking to other teachers that are men, which again was bound to happen. You're this boy's first kiss, his first real crush, and his mama ain't around, and you're older. You take mommy issues and an insecure teenager and you've got attachment problems on your hands. Thinking that Pacey wouldn't get emotionally invested in this whole ordeal is silly, and as a grown woman, you should have known what was to come. And she doesn't make matters better when she decides to sleep with him. You heard me right. Pedo Tamara decides to sleep with 15-year-old Pacey, making this his first time in her 100th. He lost his virginity to his 36-year-old teacher on video. Just another little backstory if, again, you don't go here. Dawson tried to record his first kiss with Jen. He wanted it to be romantic, caught off guard, and she just did not like that. She like, okay, what are you doing? Like, this is supposed to be special, supposed to be natural. This do not feel natural. So as he has the camera propped up, they run off to another area of the woods that they were in. So they're in woods, he's recording, they run off and end up kissing somewhere else, but he leaves his camera running and he accidentally captures Pacey and Tamara having their first sexual encounter, and he has the video, and him and Joey watch the video together, and they're like, if you brush the hair back a little bit and, you know, do a little rearranging of the hair, that kind of looks like Miss Jacobs. And you can only see Tamara in the video. Pacey is the mystery man. You can't see anything but his backside and his throbbing neck muscles. But Dawson and Joey definitely recognized Miss Jacobs. While Pacey, Dawson, Joey, and Jen are all having lunch, Dawson is telling everyone about this tape. Well, not everyone, but his little group. He's telling them about the tape, and Pacey's like, I must see it. And they're thinking that he wants to see it because he's jealous, because they think that he just has some silly kid crush on his teacher and he just wants to see the video, or he's going to get jealous once he finds out who the man is. But really, he just wants to see how his performance was, and he just wants to see the tape, period. He just wants to see. So Pacey goes over to Dawson's house to retrieve this tape and ends up telling him that he's the mystery man from the video. He's the man with the throbbing neck muscles, and Dawson is shook, as we all are, because what is happening right now? Okay, before I move on to the downfall of them, because I feel like I've talked about their relationship for long enough, and I know y'all get the point by now, so I just want to move on. But I want to talk about this moment where Tamara seemingly gets mad that Pacey was a virgin before their encounter. Like, lady, be so for real right now. I won't even say that she was mad. I think she felt a bit guilty and uncomfortable, as she should, because she done slept with all these men and she just took this little boy's virginity instead of someone his age taking his virginity how it should be. So at this point in their relationship, Pacey is now coming over to Tamara's house and laying up in her bed and stuff like that, and she tells this boy, I have like 3 bodies in high school, another one after that. Like, she's basically saying she had about 6 bodies.
You've been with other guys, right?
Well, not a lot that mattered.
And how many was that?
You want numbers?
There was one in high school and one in college. And since then, I'd say there have been 3, but no one for a few years.
I'm not saying that it is impossible. I'm not saying that it's unheard of. But the way she moves, I know she's lying. I know she's lying straight through her teeth. I know that she's capped right now. And then she gonna turn around, how about some, and the one in high school? I'm not talking about my high school. Actually, I'm about to throw up. Actually, somebody please get me a pill. Actually, I can do it right here, honestly, because I'm sick. And this is a whole separate situation. But after he tells her that he was a virgin, she was like, go home, Pacey. You're gonna put him out? Like, what did you expect a 15-year-old boy to be? You thinking he just got bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies? He's 15 years old. Girl, good night. Good night tomorrow, for real. Like, getting with someone who is freshly in high school, expecting them to be anything else but inexperienced is delusional. Straight delusion going on in that lady's head. Let's get into this downfall, because I'm ready to see the downfall of her. Thankfully, after another student overhears Pacey talking about planning him and Tamara's first actual outing together, the rumor gets started. And I do not like calling things that are true a rumor. Like, if something happened, then it happened. It's not a rumor. A rumor is something that's not true and it's getting spreaded around. Y'all, a secret just got out. Mind you, they're in a school bathroom, so he's just getting real comfortable, real loose, talking about his situation with Tamara in front of his peers. And it's not like he didn't check the bathroom stalls, because he's like, I can't let this get out. But it's still like, why are you talking about this at school? It's supposed to be so private, so confidential. Not saying that I'm blaming him for anything or the secret getting out, but he is the reason that it got out. I do have to say that much, but I'm happy that the secret got out. So thank you, Pacey and stoner dude who was hiding in the stalls. But Pacey is getting really comfortable with Tamara and the idea of them going over to her house every weekend, talking about it freely around the school. Like, he's just really getting comfortable and invested. But if stoner dude never overheard Pacey talking to Dawson, ain't no telling how long Tamara would have got away with what she was doing to him.
Mr. Witter, you're late.
Probably resting up from last night.
Keep up the running commentary, Mr. Twitchell, and I'll see you after class.
You promise?
And the fact that Tamara blames only Pacey for everything going on right now is just typical Tamara behavior. She blames him opening his big mouth on their little secret getting out, but won't take any accountability for her being the start of this little secret anyway. Like, girl, this is your secret. You're the one who is doing something illegal. Pacey is not doing anything illegal. He's not doing anything wrong. And I think that she keeps forgetting that. Like, it's like she remembers that she's the adult in the situation, and then she feels bad and tries to go back on her words and her actions without taking any accountability. You can't do that. So her and Pacey are talking back at her house after a long day of dealing with rumors circulating at school, and she's like, there was one boundary placed upon this relationship. Not sex, not true intimacy, only one. And that's that you don't talk about it. Like, wait a minute, Tamara, there's only one boundary placed upon this relationship? I think that's the issue. That is the only boundary that you say, is that y'all don't talk about it. And that's because you know you dead wrong for what you're doing. You feel shame when it comes to what you're doing with Pacey, and that's why y'all gotta creep and sleep behind closed doors. She's like, you don't go telling your friends and you don't go bragging to your classmates. Like, girl, he's 15 years old. Did you seriously think this was gonna work? But she's really mad about the fact that this rumor has reached the teachers, and she's like, okay, if this rumor has reached my co-workers, the other teachers, then I know it's only a matter of time before the school board get involved and my job is at risk. But you did that though, remember that.
Let's not have this conversation, Pacey.
What conversation?
The one where you apologize to me and tend to my wounded heart, all the while explaining why you're not to blame for opening up your big mouth.
And she ends up breaking up with him right here. Her words, not mine. She's like, here, you want to do something real coupley? Let's do what couples do and break up. I just want to take that Barbie doll ponytail and wrap it around my hand and pitch her back to where she came from before she came to Cape Side, messing with Pacey's head. And I know she done did this before too. She way too comfortable. It's probably why she left her last city. But she marches off with an attitude, and I'm just like, girl, you better save that energy and put it towards getting you another job, because your time is ticking. Word about Pacey and Tamara gets around town really quickly, and Pacey's older brother, who is a police officer, overhears something about a teenage boy making up a rumor about sleeping with his teacher over the intercom or something like that, and he automatically knows that, or thinks that it's Pacey who's made up this rumor. And Pacey's like, basically, I wish you believed me. They go through this whole like sibling banter back and forth, and at the end of their conversation, Pacey basically tells him, I wish that you believed me, because his brother is like, you know, is people actually dumb enough out here to believe believe you and your stupid rumors. And he's like, well, I wish you was one of them people. Like, he genuinely looks so sad at the fact that his brother does not believe him. And this moment makes me really look at Pacey as a victim. Like, I've been looking at Pacey as a victim this whole entire time, but this is the moment he actually shows a bit of a soft spot. He shows a bit of emotion when it comes to how this is actually affecting him, because at the end of the day, he is being taken advantage of. He's being emotionally manipulated. His brother don't believe him. Everyone's thinking he's a liar. It's a lot on his plate. And this moment just reminds me about how male victims usually aren't taken as seriously as they should be. People either A, don't believe them, or B, tell them that they are lucky because an older woman is coming onto them. And that is supposed to be some type of fantasy. In the end, Tamara ends up having to face the school board and defend herself, prove her innocence. And the school board is trying to figure out if they should charge her or not, which shouldn't even be a question. Like, white women seriously get away with everything. Like, what do you mean you have rumors about you sleeping with a child and they're questioning if you should be charged or not? Switch the genders or the race in this and you have a completely different outcome of how this ends. Right before Tamara exposes herself, Pacey walks in and it's like, give me 1 second to explain. Everything is a rumor. All of what y'all are hearing is not true. And he also says that he himself started the rumor to satisfy his own adolescent fantasy. He says that Miss Jacobs is his English teacher and that's it. And anyone who believes the rumors are stupid because that could never happen. He just sits in the back of the class and wishes that he had a chance with her. That's what he's telling this school board. And they're like, really? Huh. Okay, well, no need to do any further investigation. We're gonna take your word for it, young man. Tamara, thank you for your time today, and I'm sorry that this happened to you. And literally nothing happens to Tamara. She doesn't face any kind of consequences for anything that she's done because Pacey saved her. Even after she tried to get a lawyer on him and was like, I'm not speaking. If you want to speak to me, speak to my lawyer. Like, you're gonna do me like that after you done took advantage of me? You're gonna tell your lawyer to tell me to speak to her only while you're sitting right next to her? Like, are you joking? I wouldn't have saved Tamara. If I was Pacey, I wouldn't have been saving anything, baby. You're going to jail. But yeah, since Pacey said that he started the rumor himself, I guess they really didn't have any further digging to do. And Tamara don't even get a slap on the wrist. I mean, she does end up moving away. She leaves her house behind and she just moved to town, so now she gotta move again and she's moving in with her sister. But that's off the back of her own guilty conscience. It's not like they were like, you gotta get out of town, you're out of here. She just did that because she felt bad and she wanted to escape. So again, nothing happened to her. Their goodbye scene is really unimpactful and it doesn't change my mind about anything. She hardly apologizes and tells him to stop apologizing. She also tells him to find girls his own age, which she could have said in the beginning to avoid all of this. She wouldn't have had to move. She wouldn't have felt embarrassed.
I should be at my sister's house in Rochester by tomorrow evening.
Don't waste any time, do you?
Pacey, you knew this day was inevitable.
I think I'd have to disagree with you there, Miss Jacobs.
Hey, maybe you'd graduate. Maybe I'd meet someone my own age. God, maybe you'd meet someone your own age.
You seriously ruined your own reputation in Cape Side in a matter of what, 2 weeks? She was freshly new in town and now she's moving again because of this rumor. And I think the worst part about all of this is the fact that people seriously thought that Pacey was lying. Like, no one ever figured out that he was telling the truth. No one ever brings it back up. Nothing. She doesn't ever actually get caught.
No, come on, I'm dying to know. What'd you put for 16, Witter? Let's just put an old rumor to rest right now.
Have you ever had sex with someone twice your age? It's a joke, right?
Well, it's true after all. Witter laid the pipe with Miss Jacobs. I don't know whether to congratulate you or fall off my chair.
Ugh, I feel like I already gave my thoughts about Tamara and Pacey throughout this entire section, so I don't really have anything to say to wrap it up. Y'all get the deal. I hated this whole entire thing. I hated this storyline. I was so happy when it was officially over, because right here, right now, unfortunately, it's not officially over. It's the beginning of over, but it ain't over. Tamara does end up leaving Cape Side in season 1, but she reappears for an episode, or like 3 episodes in season 2. In an episode titled Tamara's Return.
The affair that cost one teacher her job and one teenage boy the love of his life.
Sometimes it's right to do the wrong thing.
Next Wednesday, she's back.
Do you miss, teaching?
Yes, very much.
I realized last night that I'm not entirely over her.
An unforgettable affair reignited at all new Dawson's Creek.
Ew. Okay, so part of me is annoyed that she's back because we definitely could have left her in the past. It was not needed to bring her back here. Pacey had enough going on. We did not need her to spicing up his storyline or anyone else's. Cough, cough. Dawson's dad. But another tiny part of me is actually happy that this episode exists. It shows how Pacey, even though in season 1 it seems like he got over Tamara, isn't truly over her. He never truly moved past the situation. He sees her in Cape Side one day and literally freezes while he's with his new friend Andy. They were enemies to lovers, so I guess I can't say that it's his friend right here, but they do get together at the end of this episode. So it may have been easy for Tamara to move away from Cape Side and just pretend like nothing ever happened, but it was way deeper than that for Pacey. As we see, when he sees her, he is quite literally stuck. He cannot speak. He can't even introduce her to Andy. I mean, this is literally, again, normal for how I would think that he would react. You were his first everything, first kiss, first, and then you have the nerve to just up and leave after I defend you at a school board meeting and take the blame for you and save your career? Nah, man, they gotta be some kind of emotional abuse. During Tamara's return, her and Pacey have a long conversation about basically nothing, y'all. It really is a bunch of nothing.
When we said hi yesterday, it was a little awkward. And I don't know, I just thought I should come and... Yeah?
It was supposed to feel awkward.
How about this? Is this supposed to feel awkward too?
They keep doing this thing where they're like, let's have a moment of silence. Like, baby, the only thing to need a moment of silence is this relationship. Y'all need to dead it. But later on, when Pacey goes to Dawson's house, they're talking and he admits to Dawson that he realized last night that he's not fully over Tamara. Dawson, who's all for appropriate relationships, tries to tell Pacey that there are girls out there his age who are interested in him. Girls like Andy. And he's like, Andy ain't no woman, she's a little girl. And Dawson's like, yeah, that's the point. You are a little boy, you not a grown man. But Pacey's not really hearing anything Dawson is saying and goes to get a last word from Tamara, get a little bit of closure. He tells her that they are both on 2 different planets and basically he's trying to work towards being okay. He's trying to heal himself from her.
I keep thinking that I shouldn't be over this, but I am. Sexually, we were pretty good together. But in all other respects, we were on 2 different planets. That's what I came to tell you the other day. I'm fine. Grown up.
You have, I see that.
So Tamara sees this as an opportunity to undo all that healing and kisses him again. Wasn't a kiss what started this whole mess? And you're going to kiss him yet again? You gonna bring back them feelings? Okay, this is what I'm talking about. She is just so selfish. She's not thinking about Pacey at all. She's simply doing this for her own enjoyment. Nothing she's done throughout this entire relationship has been for Pacey. It's all been for her. And this does mark their actual final moment together. That should have been season 1, but here we are. I no longer have it in me to repeat how much I hated this relationship and how much I hated Tamara. Y'all get the point. I've been saying it for about 30 minutes? Why, if this section is actually 30 minutes, I will throw up. I must move on for my own sanity. Tamara's actually really lucky I dedicated this long of a section to her. The other perverts ain't getting that. Remember earlier when I said that these plot lines are usually thrown in the middle of these shows, all except for Dawson's Creek? Well, I kind of forgot that this was also the case with Desperate Housewives. In the show, one of the main characters, Gabriella, is married to this rich man who is obsessed with working and spoiling her, and yet somehow he is her worst nightmare, and she low-key despises him. Material-wise, he gives her everything that she could ever want. Nice cars, a big house, gets to go shopping whenever she wants to, for designer clothes, by the way, and she has a maid. Like, she literally has everything that a person could want when it comes to materials. Anything she wants, he gets it for her. $1,500 necklace, you got it. But unfortunately, that just was not enough for Gabrielle. While Carlos would be at work, Gabrielle would be having an affair with their teenage garden boy named John, who also plays another John in John Tucker Must Die. He's always the eye candy. He does play a good John though. And I'm not the biggest fan of Carlos, but that man did not deserve to be cheated on. He was going to work every day, putting in them hours to provide a lifestyle, the lifestyle that she loves so much, and she would be creeping around behind his back with a 16-year-old garden boy. Their garden boy. And there's nothing wrong with being a garden boy. It's just the fact that he is 16 years old and he works for them. Like, he literally works for your husband, yet you're stooping down to this level of a 16-year-old child. Okay, and before you come at me, I know I said that Carlos did not deserve to be cheated on, but I stand by that. Up until later on in the series, he was not a jerk, and I did not finish the show, so honestly, I can't say too much. After Carlos goes to jail, I seriously get really bored, and so I stopped, and I was like, I'm not going to force myself to watch a show that I don't want to watch anymore. But Carlos, at this point of the show, season 1, episode 1, he did not deserve to get cheated on. Like, I know he low-key did treat her like an object. After she told him that his co-worker or someone that he works with made her uncomfortable, he told her to continue to let that co-worker grab her butt because they made a lot of money together last year. I don't know if he was joking, but he still kind of jerked out for that, just a little bit. But he still didn't deserve to get cheated on. Like, hello. Gabrielle was definitely in the wrong for that one, especially because the dude was 16 years old, baby. Like I said with Tamara. Wait, was it Tamara? Who cheated? Who was I talking about who cheated? Oh, Mary Kay Letourneau. If you're gonna cheat, please cheat with another adult and leave the kids out of it. Like, you do not gotta go run into no 16, 15-year-old boy. I've always hated Gabrielle though, and I don't see how she is so many of the Desperate Housewives fans' favorite character. There are so many better characters on Wisteria Lane, and I know everybody did they dirt on this street, but certain stuff I personally just cannot overlook. And like I said, I never made it past season 2? Season 3? People hate Susan for some reason. Why do y'all hate Susan? I love Susan so much, and she gets the most hate, I feel like. I don't even see Brie get that much hate, and I could not stand her. But like I said, I did not finish watching it, so characters grow and characters go downhill. Who knows what's going on over there on Wisteria Lane, for real, for real. I'm only touching the surface of the show, I know that, but from what I'm seeing, this relationship between Gabrielle and John was disgusting, and it made me dislike her. How is Gabrielle possibly your favorite character, and most of her storyline consists of her sneaking around with John, who is a teenager? Then the way she was bragging about what she did to John and how they did it and stuff like that to antagonize Carlos while he was locked up. Like, you're seriously sitting up here bragging about being a pervert to your husband. Like, I don't care how cute your hair is, I don't care how pretty you are, I don't care how much I like your outfits, you're a predator and nothing else. Like, nothing will make you come back from that. You can literally never redeem yourself. And it's not like these women be clueless. That's my whole thing. Like, they know what they're doing fully. Then she tries to justify her cheating on her husband with she needs to be loved. Women need to be loved. She got lonely. You got lonely, so you went and looked for a 16-year-old's love and affection. I would hate to leave you alone in the high school. You get lonely and that's the direction you look looking. When there's so many men out here, you're gonna go look for a 16-year-old boy. You're gonna go confide in a 16-year-old child. And in the pilot, we do see them hook up for the first time, but it's only our first time seeing them hook up. He's made it clear that they've hooked up before, because he said that, I like when we hook up, but I don't want to lose my job. I don't want your husband finding out. You know, he's a kid, like he's scared, but she's over here sucking on his fingers, being all seductive, like, ew, you're gross, you nasty ass pedophile. Sorry, y'all. I just literally hate Gabrielle so much, and the fact that she has so many fans. But I say that to say that we as watchers don't really know when they first started hooking up, because they were already hooking up prior to this episode. And the main thing that really bothers me about this whole situation, other than the fact that it's literal statutory rape, is the way she tries to control John and his teenage love life, his normal teenage love life, like she isn't in a full-blown marriage herself, like she ain't got a whole husband that she go to sleep to every night and wake up to every morning. But Gabrielle is such a narcissist, and she's so controlling over John's love life that there's this one time where she goes to extreme measures to keep John away from Bree's teenage daughter, Danielle.
Hi, John.
Mrs. Elise?
I wasn't aware you two were friends.
We go to the same school.
Of course you do. Doesn't it make you nervous? A boy alone upstairs with Danielle?
Oh, no, I don't worry about John. Both he and Danielle are in the abstinence club.
But Danielle wants to be a model, and if y'all don't know, Gabrielle was once a model before she got with Carlos and became a stay-at-home wife. So she tells Danielle that she'll pay her full tuition just to go to modeling school. And because she used to be a model and she don't know nothing about Gabby and John, Danielle's not thinking anything of it. She don't see any ill intentions behind what Gabby is doing for her. Okay, y'all, real quick, I just wanted to say that it is ridiculously hard to find clips of Desperate Housewives for free on YouTube or anywhere else, really. Like, I done searched high and low for full episodes for free, and I just don't have it in me to keep on searching for what's not there. So if this section feels really blank visually, sorry for that. But then again, half of y'all don't even be looking at the screen anyway while y'all listening to me talk. So some of y'all probably like, girl, who cares? But yeah, I just, I be trying to show examples of stuff, and I cannot find an example of this, but I will put the episode here. The episode where stuff happened, I'll include that. But as for me finding clips, I'm done trying. But Bree, who doesn't want Danielle modeling like that, turns down the offer anyway. So Gabby doesn't get far with her little plan at all. Like, girl, leave this little boy alone. He is literally young enough to be your little brother. Like, this is sick. This is actually nasty as hell. Let John have his cake and eat it too. I mean, that's what you're doing. And let's talk about that time she called herself breaking up with John just to end up getting mad that he was sleeping with another pervert on the block named Miss Joan, and she was 41.
You saw us?
Yes, and I have to say, she's old enough to be your mother. Hell, she's old enough to be my mother.
Joan's only 41.
Joan? You're calling her Joan?
Why shouldn't I? She's my friend.
I know your friends, and I have a hunch you don't do to your friends what I saw you doing to that wrinkly old lady.
What is it with Wisteria Lane and messing with underage boys? And what's going on with John where he keeps seeking women far older than he is? His mama is around. She was very upset when she found out about him and Gabrielle. So just imagine her finding out that he's doing this with another old lady.
It wasn't Susan. It was me. I'm the one who was sleeping with your son.
For how long?
Almost a year.
So, when it started, he was 16?
I think. But Helen, you have to believe me. It's over now.
No, you're wrong. It's not even close to being over.
And then he's definitely been brainwashed or something, because he's over talking about some Joan is his friend. Baby, that is your booty call. That is not your friend. She using you for something young and fresh. But no, seriously, Gabrielle tore that lady's garden up over John. And then she has the nerve to try and gaslight him and make him feel guilty for having sex with someone else. Although, and I will keep on saying this, she has a husband and is too old for him. So you can't really get mad talking about some Joan is old enough to be your mother. Baby, you old enough to be his auntie. You dang near old enough to be his mama. You could have been a teen mom. How old is she? Like 36, 34? She ain't that young. And even if she was, anything 30 and anything teen should not be mixing. I don't care if John was 18. And the fandom really loves to bring up that they're like, why couldn't the writers just make John 18? He could have easily been in college. And I'm just like, y'all want to justify what Gabrielle did so bad. That was not the case. Like, he wasn't an 18-year-old. He wasn't 19. He was a minor. But because she's pretty and she has nice outfits, everyone loves her. And it's like, oh my gosh, I was really rooting for them. I really wanted them to be a thing. Carlos didn't deserve her. John was way cuter. John was 16 years old. There's nothing really spectacular to say about their relationship. It just lasted way longer than it should have, honestly. The only reason this whole thing came to an end was because Susan called Gabrielle out on what was going on. She seen her and John out one day and she was playing with his under the table with her foot, and I guess she thought no one would see her, but Susan did, and Susan called her out.
Do you want to help with the seating cards? Sure. Do you want to tell me why you had your foot in John Rowland's crotch yesterday? You're sleeping with him, aren't you?
Yes, but you have to promise not to tell anybody.
Gabrielle, he's in high school, and it's illegal, and you're married.
Y'all hate Susan, but one thing about Susan, she never played that pedo stuff. She never gave perv, unlike y'all fave. She was always saying things to him like, you're supposed to only love me. You said you only loved me, and I'm the only woman you've ever loved. You said that in my ear multiple times. Like, just getting into his head. But husband, you have a house with him. You have a ring on your finger. You have a whole other life. You expect me to be all for you, and you aren't even all for me, and you my auntie. It's literally exhausting to just sit here and watch these boys get manipulated and played with and gaslit into believing that they're the problem. And that's the case with every woman I done talked about. They're always trying to make it seem like the young boy is the problem or the one who's starting stuff. Like, no. Or the one who owes them something. Like, they don't owe you anything. You owe them an apology. These last two sections are going to be very short, but also very important for today's topic. So next, I want to talk about Nate Archibald from the series Gossip Girl and his relationship with a 40-year-old woman who also happens to be the Duchess of Beaton, whose name is Catherine. She's married, obviously, and she's also really, really, really rich, which later on leads to her using her wealth to control Nate. Y'all already know the Upper East Side is where all the rich people live, so Nate does come from money. But when Nate's family runs into financial issues, Catherine pays Nate to keep sleeping with her because she is, again, the lonely, sad wife trope. Her husband's not giving her enough attention, blah, blah, blah.
The scandal will destroy her. Can you imagine her watching her house seized, her grandmother's jewels up for auction?
I told you I'll figure something out. I can handle this.
You can take care of this with my help. It could just be between you and me. No one would have to know.
What would I have to do for you?
See how these stories keep on repeating? They're getting real repetitive. That's why I'm moving kind of fast. But Nate's situation with Catherine is different from any of the other characters that I've talked about today because his situation is transactional. While the other characters, it seems like they're more in love type of thing. Like they think they're in love. It's not really anything involving money. So it really does seem like Nate is being pimped out to support his family after his dad abandoned them after he got caught in a scam. Gossip Girl has so many freaking storylines, y'all. I be getting it mixed up, I ain't gonna lie. But I'm sure that's what happened. That daddy was up and out of there. He said, I gotta go. I'm sorry, I don't know about y'all. I know what y'all gonna do. Power's out. We barely got no food. Can't pay rent, so y'all getting put out. Furniture getting sold. But at least Nate is handsome. No, his dad didn't suggest that he do that. I'm just joking, which I shouldn't be joking about that. It's not funny. Like, he was only 17 years old having to have sex with a 40-year-old woman just just so his family could keep their image and be financially stable as they were used to being anyways, because like I said, money, like he really did come from some money, but his dad got them mixed up into some stuff. They lost a lot of it. So Catherine's like, here, I'll give you some money if you just fulfill my every need, touch all the spots that my husband can't. And he's like, well, I'm already having sex with half the Upper East Side anyway. Why not add a 40-year-old woman to my list? Catherine knew that Nate was desperate for money, so she used that to her advantage and got her some young meat. This is just another example of an older woman using her power to control and take advantage of a younger man simply because she can. Because she has a husband. Like, why don't they cheat with somebody of age? Why was that out of the questions in the early 2000s? Why they gotta go sneak off with a teenage boy so they can feel younger, feel youthful, feel energized? But thanks to Blair, the blackmailing does stop eventually, and she ends up just paying off Nate's family debt. So what's that saying? All's well ends well. Oswald, I don't know. Y'all, it's like 4 a.m. Real quick before I move on, I just want to say that I did not accidentally leave out mentioning Diana. I purposely left that out because Nate was like 20, 21 when they happened, and I'm talking about minor relationships, or like teens, and he was not a teen. They just had a really big age gap. So don't think that I missed. Okay, I'm so sorry for how much I'm moving, but this laptop. But yeah, don't think that I left that out on accident. I'm aware of her existence, and it was kind of weird still, but it was not illegal, so I'm not mentioning her. But I have one last character to talk about with y'all today. About 2 to 3 months ago, I started watching the OC, and it quickly became like one of my favorite shows to watch in my spare time because it was just so eventful, but it also had them filler episodes that I love so much. And by season 2, I started to despise it. They repeat a lot of storylines, especially between Seth and Summer. Like, that's really why I started to get annoyed. Like, will they, won't they, will they, won't they? I don't care if they do or don't at this point. Like, the whole breaking up, getting back together, her getting mad, her getting back happy, and choosing between him and that other dude who I forgot his name because I haven't touched that show in like a month. It just got super annoying. But it just went downhill for me during season 2, and it didn't help when they randomly decided to throw in the plot line of one of the main characters' mothers getting with her ex-boyfriend. Like, her daughter's ex-boyfriend, whose name is Luke. This is Luke here. Super handsome, super charming, I guess. But he is like 17 years old. What is up with these women and men, boys who are 17 years old on a verge of adolescence and adulthood? But you have this woman right here named Julie who gets with Marissa, her daughter's ex-boyfriend Luke, because she's feeling vulnerable and lonely again. I'm tired of the vulnerable and lonely. Like, please, if you're that vulnerable, go see a therapist. Go be vulnerable with them. Why do you have to wreck the lives of young men just because you're feeling vulnerable and lonely? And the thing with this situation is, like, she feels bad about it, but then again, she don't. This is her daughter's ex, so she's trying to keep it on a low, and she's also going through either a divorce or she's getting with her friend's dad. Like, Julie does too much. Julie Cooper is the worst character on the OC. Like, I actually hate Julie Cooper. You gonna have the nerve to sleep with your daughter's ex-boyfriend and then wonder why she don't want to talk to you or act like this big happy family with you after you done betrayed her like this?
And you need to focus on the future, which means Luke. You've invested so much with Luke, honey. Your relationship has too much potential to be squandered by some silly misunderstanding.
And I think Julie Cooper is like the perfect example of an actual MILF, or what a MILF stands to be. Like, the hot mom who all the young boys want to have sex with. And Luke literally tells her that when they would be like having boys night and stuff like that, they would be talking about all the moms that they would have sex with. She would always get the highest vote. So it's like everyone's seriously attracted to this lady. She is the MILF of the OC. And I think the MILF of this list, like, she's the only one who's actually a mom. Is is she? Who else is a mom? You got Tamara. She's not a mom. Catherine wasn't a mom. And Gabrielle was not a mom until later on. So none of these women were MILFs except for Julie. So I really think she's like this Celeste representation of what a MILF is described to be. Super hot, but someone's mom who loves her a young man. Isn't that part of the MILF package? Like, you got to like young men. Is that it? Or young men want to you. And as for Luke, he was super young and he got attached to Julie really quick. Like, he was not taking no for an answer when she was like, we gotta stop this. This gotta be our last time seeing each other. He was not taking no for an answer, and he literally was showing up, causing scenes over Julie Cooper, his ex-girlfriend's mom. And it wasn't no ex like, oh, we dated for a couple days. No, it was like a hardcore ex. So for them to pull this move where Julie sleeps with her daughter's ex-boyfriend was crazy as hell. Thankfully, it doesn't last that long, but it lasts long enough for him to get attached, so the damage was already done. That's what these predator women don't ever take into consideration. The feelings of the young man who is fully invested when you're just using them as playtime. They don't think about how that will affect them long term. So it's about them, what they can get out of it. Most of the time, sexually. If sex is not involved, they don't even be messing with these young boys. They literally use them for their bodies. It's disgusting, right? Like, I feel like I'm just saying this for however long this video is, probably like a freaking hour. The point is, Julie Cooper was sick and I feel horrible for Luke. Anytime I do my outro and it's like late at night, I feel like Nina from Nina and Star and Sprout Show. I just always feel like I'm sitting right next to that big yellow star every time I do an outro. I don't know why. But that is the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know it was kind of lengthy. I feel like I spent a lot of time talking about Casey and Tamara, but that's because out of all these situations, their situation lasts the longest, and it shows the effects of how something like that could affect a victim. It shows how you can get in trouble for something like that. Like, it just goes more in depth about the cougarness of it all, how sick and twisted it really is, and how the games are played, and how easily manipulated teenage boys are in situations like this. So yeah, I feel like it just did the best at displaying how real it gets. And just because a predator just so happens to be a woman does not mean that she's no longer a predator. It doesn't mean that she's now a sexy MILF all of a sudden. It doesn't mean that. It means that she is a perv who deserves any consequences coming towards them. If you're a man watching this, which I highly doubt because I do not have a big male following on here, but if you are a man watching this and you see yourself in any of these characters, please get you some help if you need it. Like, seriously, I know it sounds so like, yeah, duh, go to therapy. Everybody say go to therapy, go to therapy. No, seriously, heal yourself. Like, first of all, realize you're a victim and that getting with a woman at a young age was not an accomplishment. You were taken advantage of. You have to do that part in accepting the fact that you were taken advantage of first, and then start healing, because they did not deserve that from you. They don't deserve to take up that much of your brain space. You seriously do need to get some help and realize that that was not your fault, one, and it was not okay that happened to you. Whether you were a kid, a teenager, teenage boys think that getting with an older woman is scoring when 99.9% of the time she playing you and you think that you playing her, but she really got you wrapped around her finger, and whenever she wants you to let go of that finger, she gonna cut you off. The early 2000s, like I said, they had a lot of things just going on that they let fly. A lot of stuff took place that would not take place today in today's TV. But I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye. Bye. Good night. Everything, everywhere, all at once.